Hey guys, Sarah Ansboury here, and today I want to talk to you about a common question I get. For those of you players who have problems, maybe like doing weird things like this, like maybe you're maneuvering your thumb right here, and you're not sure how and why you're doing it, and a lot of times we don't realize what the cause of that is. So first thing to recognize is when you actually move your thumb and you do things like this puts a lot of energy into your elbow and your wrist, causes tennis elbows. One of the major causes of tennis elbow in pickleball is this right here. So the tendency to manipulate your thumb and your elbow, okay, this is like what we call your small hinges. Okay, what we want is our shoulder hinge. This is our big hinge right here. So that is actually what comes down to what your non-dominant hand is doing. So if your left hand, as a right-hander, because that's me, my left hand is here at my side, what I naturally end up doing is these things like this to manipulate my paddle. Okay, so that is, again, it's why balls go into the net and all sorts of crazy stuff. So actually how do we fix that is the key. What your left hand is doing, or a right hand if you're a left-handed player, your non-dominant hand is actually what we use to manipulate our shoulders and hands, okay? It is a huge, huge factor in being able to engage your shoulder joint instead of your elbow joint. When you are holding your paddle, your thumb and your index finger are there to support it. So when you take that thumb and you place it in weird spots like that, it puts a lot of impact on your wrist and elbow. So when you're out there practicing on the pickleball court, think about when you're hitting a backhand, keeping your non-dominant hand connected and turning your shoulders instead of squaring up the paddle. Okay, so here right there's no body impact here. Okay, what I want is shoulder rotation so that my full body is supporting my paddle and supporting the maneuverability of what I'm doing. Okay, and what I really want when I'm doing that, see how my elbow's down here, it's not out here. I don't want to punch someone like this. That's going to snap that paddle all over the place. So keep that elbow down, and let's work on turning from our shoulders, using your non-dominant hand to help control your paddle. But in the long run, what is it really about? No more tennis elbow, no more wrist issues. Okay, we want to be out on the court as long as we can, and that has everything to do with making sure we're not putting excess energy and impact on the body when we don't need to. I'm going to talk a little bit about manners today, and if you ever were told keep your elbows off the table, that is actually the imagery that we're going to utilize today. Often you see players struggling with their body kind of moving backwards, weight pulling on the heels, and all sorts of crazy stuff. So what I actually want you to think about when you're on average holding your paddle. So if here's my paddle position in my chest high paddle is actually my elbows kind of on the table nice and confidently. Okay, so if my elbows are on the table, they're not in here, they're out here away from the body. Okay, so what's important here is if I drop my paddle below the table, my non-dominant arm stays on the table. So as I'm finishing, maybe I'm reaching under the table and finishing with my hands closer together. This is going to help with better net clearance, more consistency, but it also allows you to rotate and turn above the table. You can even just think of the net as a table that you're staying on top of. As soon as my opponent is hitting, let's say, a low ball, okay, I'm going to lay the paddle on the table and adjust backwards or keep it out in a forward position. What happens a lot is players immediately go down and scrunch themselves and get very uncomfortable because this is way too close to the body. What I want to do is create this space away from me. An elbow spread out on the table is going to create that motion out in a forward position. So remember, elbows are engaging and moving. They're not popping out like this because you still have this table down. Something as simple as thinking your non-dominant hand is actually splayed right on top of the table, so the elbow is not coming in. Especially for women, this can cause a lot of issues because when our elbows are bent like this, it's right below our chest, and it causes our body to rock in a back and forth position. So if you find yourself wobbling like this, those elbows out in a forward will actually help you maintain your body position, keep your chest high so that you're not falling forward. Okay? If I'm even dropping a ball for a serve, I'm taking that table position and dropping. What that also does is encourage the rotation of your shoulders. If I'm in this position, my shoulders don't actually turn quite as well. So be aware of where your kind of wrists are facing. down under the table, on top of the table. If my opponent has the ball, especially the farther back they are towards the baseline, I want to be up high on a bar top table versus, let's say, a kitchen table. I want to be up, 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 up so that I'm ready to hit in a downward trajectory instead of maybe down here with my elbows close into the body. Create your space, create more room for better contact, and the ability to maneuver your paddle more comfortably using your shoulders and your non-dominant hand.